I'm going to show you how you can build a completely automated way to scrape new jobs every single day or every single week, and then enrich those jobs and that data, find the right contacts, find the right decision makers, find the email addresses, then write parts of the email with AI, and then send it to your scheduling tool, whether that's Smartlead, Lemlist, any of these kinds of tools, all automatically so that it runs every single day. And I'm going to show you in Clay how I do it step by step. And this is particularly useful for recruitment agencies, but it can also be used for anyone that uses job data in general to as an intent trigger when you're using when you're doing your outreach. So first thing you're going to do, so I'm actually going to walk you through it step by step and basically show you like this is how it works, how you do it. This is an overview of the template. This is an overview of the workflow in general. So we're pulling the data in from Apify, right? And we're doing one search criteria here from Apify, and I'll show you how we do that in a second. So pulling that in to start off with. Second, we are enriching the companies. So obviously, when you pull data in, and this is specifically from LinkedIn, but this can also be done on Indeed and any other job sites. I'm just doing this as an example of LinkedIn. When you pull data in, 9 times out of 10, or most of the companies, I would say probably about 50 to 60% of the companies that are posting are recruiters, right? Maybe a little bit more, probably even up to 80% are recruiters. We obviously don't want to reach out to recruiters unless you're targeting recruiters. But in our case, we're not reaching out to recruiters. We want the specific companies that are advertising for those roles in those companies, right? And just to give you a very quick anecdote of another area or an element that you could use this for, you could basically take parts of the job description and try and find the tech stack that the company is using that maybe you won't be able to find it on Build With, right? And you can leverage that data from job descriptions and then understand what tech stack they're using and then reach out based on that, right? So it's just another use case of it. But of course, if you are a recruitment agency or you use jobs data to as an intent trigger, then this is obviously going to be really, really useful for you. So enrich the companies. So we enrich the companies, and what we're doing is we're filtering out for recruitment companies. Now, we could do this also at the get people stage, but I choose to do it at the enrich stage and the get people stage to try and eliminate as many recruitment companies as possible, just because we've had some time in the past where we've had recruitment companies that we still reach out to, so we want to just make sure that that's not there at all. Then we will go to the enrich people section. So what we're doing here is we are finding a decision maker. We're finding their email address, we're verifying their email address. And then once we're doing that, we're also normalizing the job title, the open job role title, because this is the copy that we use. As part of the copy that we use is like a variable. And then we're also finding the job description. And then we're crafting that into an email in the draft email section. And then we're pushing that, in our case, to Smartlead, but you could also push this to Smartlead and then like Growth Machine or any of your other sequencing tools, whether you're using just email, LinkedIn, or omnichannel, right? So this is an overview of the process and how it works. Right now, I'm in the process of building an initial list, and I'm going to show you literally from scratch how to do it. I'm going to walk you through it. So this video is going to be a little bit longer and a bit more like technical, but I want to show you like literally step by step. So what I've done is I have pulled in data here from LinkedIn. So I've actually used not business development, but I use sales, right? So what I've done is, in this case, we are looking for any sales jobs, right, that are in the United Kingdom that we're sorting it on the most recent that have been posted in the past week, and that also at mid-senior level director or executive. So we don't want like SDR jobs, we don't like lower level sort of sales jobs we're targeting specifically this, but you can put in whatever criteria you have, right? And you can obviously change the salary. I would actually recommend not putting in salary because a lot of times companies won't actually list the salary, so you're eliminating a lot of companies that could have been a good fit. So I would actually remove that and only use it if you are I just wouldn't use that, or I would use it within the Clay tables and we scrape the job description that has the salary in there, but that's a separate thing. Then you can also put in other filters like the industry as well, but in this case we're open targeting, so we're going after multiple industries. So that's what you want to do, right? And one way that you could obviously eliminate the recruitment agencies here is, if you wanted to, you can go to, where are we, industry, and just put in all of the industries, because that's going to take you quite a while, because there's a lot of industries and you don't want to miss out on certain industries. But if you know that you're going after software development, you can put in software development, right? And you can tech and all this kind of stuff if you want to. But we're doing it like this. We've got 1,800 results. Now what I've done is I've created a new task here in Apify. So what I have done is I have created a saved task, specifically a saved task. Then I have basically taken this URL here. It's great. Right, we've got 1,800 results. Put it in here and put it into here, right, like that. Right. Then what I've done is make sure that you're scraping the company page with posted the job, and you'll select automatically choose the proxies, and then also the run options. Now you can also add this as well if you want to, which is, you get the hiring team, company info and stuff. But I just leave it off because it ends up taking a lot longer. Then I will quite literally just click start. But the other thing I will do is I'll click on schedule, so that you're going to set the schedule for this and how often it's going to run. And I do weekly because, as you can see here, we've got past week. So every week on a Sunday, it's going to scrape all of the jobs that have been posted in the past week. And then I'm going to set the schedule to weekly, and then London time, and it'll scrape every Sunday, right? And it'll say next run at this time, and it will just scrape automatically. Once it scrapes, then what it will do is it will push this data into this table here, right? And every day automatically, so you can see here full data updating in 21 hours. So automatically it will rerun in 24 hours or whatever it is, right? And then if you want it to run now, you can update now, but you have to wait until the initial scrape is done. So what I will do next is I will go into here and I will map the columns that I need. So I want the job description, the job link. So this is the job link. I want the job title. So this is the job title that we're hiring for. Open job title. I want the, let's see what insights I've got here. Location. I mean, you could want the location if you're doing global and you want to target like specific areas, but all of them are in the UK, so I'm okay for that. We want the company name that is hiring. Company address, don't need that. Description, right? We want the job description. So this is the job description that they posted on LinkedIn. Job description. Oh, just an area. Company description. Where did it go? Yeah, job description. Job description. Cool. New column. That'll go here. Then next we want, we don't want that, we don't want this. We want the company description. It's really important in just a second for reasons that I will show you. Company description, and then we can also add the LinkedIn URL, and we can add the company employees count as well. Cool. So we can go add here. Right, cool. So now we've got all of this data that we scraped from Apify in these tables. I'm not sure why this isn't showing up just yet. I might have to reload it. It's 2 All right, awesome. So we've got the employees, we've got the company LinkedIn, we've got the description, we've got the job description. So the company description is just their description on LinkedIn. We've got the company name that's hiring. We've got the open job role title that they're hiring. Obviously, most of these or all of these should be in sales and should be mid to senior and above because that's what we've selected. And then we've also got the job link. So if we click on the job link, it'll take us to, right, so Adobe Sales Lead posted 33 minutes ago. Cool. And these are all the jobs within the past week. So now our job, and remember, this is the workflow that we're actually building and what we're using. Right? So now our job is to filter out the companies that are recruitment, right? And recruitment companies, and also the size of the company. Now there are two ways that we can do this. So we can technically go back and you can view the work table or the workflow. Sorry. Okay, I don't know why that wasn't loading, but I'll show you that in just a second if you stick around. So what we want to do next is we want to basically filter out the recruitment companies, right? So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to go over to add enrichments, and we are going to, sorry, not add enrichments, we're actually going to go to select. You can do it differently. You can do it as a formula. You can do it however you want to do it. I just do it select because, I don't know, it's just more aesthetically pleasing if you want. So we're going to go over to formula, and we're going to go over to if is 1000 or less, then output good, sorry, size fit. If is greater than 1000, then output exclude. Okay. So this is the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to exclude the companies that are over 1,000 employees. So before we actually get into recruitment, we don't want companies that are over 1,000. That's just the criteria that we have, right, in this case. So we're going to give that a second to load. It is a little bit slow, so I might have to pause a couple of times because the internet, I don't know why, is acting up. Cool. So you can see here, so after the internet is a bit slow, you can see here that it is excluding anyone that is over 1,000, and anyone that's under is putting size fit, right? So that we can qualify by that, and then I would just need to add in the options here. So this is good fit, and this is exclude. Again, this is not super necessary because you can technically do it at the next stage, but I prefer to do it here. It's just part of the workflow that I do, that I'm showing, and then I'll just rename it to size fit, and it should theoretically update. Good fit, or not good fit, sorry. That's why size fit. So give that a second, it should populate properly. Cool, so you can see here we've got it excluded. Now what we're going to do is we are going to basically put filter. So we've got size fit is equal to, and then good size fit here, right? So that means it'll remove all of the ones that are not, and they're too big. So you can see here we've got 522 out of 827, right? So that's how many we're left with after the size has been like checked, basically. So these are companies under 1,000 employees. Cool. So that's the first one that we'll do. You can also do this on the like range. So you could say, if the size equals 11 to 50, 50 to 200, or 51 to 200, and so on. You can also set it like that, but I'm just doing it this way. And I found that this is just much easier to do it like this, and it automatically pulls the data anyway, so you don't have to enrich it further. So that would be that. Now we want to exclude the recruitment companies, right? And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to do it through scoring. So I used to do this with AI, but with AI, it was actually quite inaccurate sometimes, and it would be 60-70% accurate. So it was a little bit annoying when I did that. So the way that I do it now is I go onto score a row in Clay, and then I click on the value that I want to score, and I go onto the company description, and I put keywords. Sorry, it contains, so text, and then keywords, anything that is to do with recruitment, right? So it's going to be recruitment, talent. So it's basically scanning for the word recruitment, talent, so on. Recruiter, recruit, careers, hiring, jobs, executive search. Let's see. Solutions, resourcing, resourcer. Cool. So that's how I would do it, and then I would just put scores as 10. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So put 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So what it's doing is, if it has the word recruitment in, it'll give it a 10. If it has the word talent in, it'll give it a 10. If it has the word recruiter in, it'll give it a 10. And then I just basically, what I'll do is just go back, and then run settings, and I'll just set the conditional formula. So only run if this contains size fit. So I only want this to run if this contains size fit. So we don't want to run it for any companies that aren't within the size requirements for us in this case. And bear in mind, all of this is free. You just need to be able to pull Amplify. I think you need a basic Play subscription. But all of this is free. Like, we're not using credits right now. We're not using AI. We're spending money on AI. Like, all of this right so far has been completely free, which is awesome. So all of these comments will run, and then we're going to run, and then we're just going to select that, and we're going to run for 522. So this is now going to run, and again, this is free. This is free. It's all been free so far. The only thing I've had to pay for is actually Amplify, because we have a higher subscription, which is I think like $49-50 a month or something. So it's not even that much, right? And you get a lot of scrapes. We're also actually potentially looking to using Triggerify as well, but I haven't explored that platform too much just yet. So once this is running, I'm going to let it queue. Then we'll create a criteria, and we'll create a filter. So add the filter here. and go score equal to, and then 0. So if the score is equal to 0, it'll basically remove all of the ones that have the word recruiter, recruitment, talent, etc. in the company description, right? And again, this might probably be about, I would say, 95% accurate. Okay, so and you can see here, you can start to see here that this is none of these are actually recruitment companies, which is great. And you can just double check by going through. So not recruitment. Yeah. So you can just go through manually and see some of them, and they're not recruitment, which is great. And we want basically like a 95%, hit rate essentially. So just let this run, and we'll just pause it whilst it runs. Cool. So now you can see that we've got, with these two filters, we've got 186 companies that basically don't have the word recruitment in their company description in any form or capacity, recruitment, talent, etc. So they're not recruitment companies, and also fit the size criteria here, right? So now what we're going to do is, now that we've reduced our list to the types of companies that we actually want to reach out to, we're going to go into the next step, which is to find and get people. So in this, we're going to click on configure. And we're going to click over to job title, and we're going to select all of the seniority, so like the higher seniority. And then I'm going to put in hiring, talent, talent acquisition, basically anyone that has to do with hiring for this company. Talent acquisition, because we're hiring for sales, it's more than likely going to be someone within the sales department as well. So those are the main ones that I'm going to do, and I'm going to just remove like assistant, admin. It shouldn't come up just in case, and then I can put in location, and I can put United Kingdom, and cool. So what I can do as well here in this case is I can also exclude people that are in another table if I want to, or I can also go into company attributes, and I can, here is where I can basically define like the numbers. So I can actually put in the company size here. When I remove self-employed. So I can put in the company size here. I actually want to remove 2 to 10. We want to find people a little bit larger than that. And then we can also exclude more descriptive words if we want to. The reason why I do it twice is just so I can filter out as many as possible, because I just don't want recruitment companies to be reaching out to recruitment companies. So I can put this in. So talent, executive. Cool. And then I can also filter out, exclude the staffing, and I can put human resources, human resource services. Cool. So that's the way I would do it. And then I would click on preview people. And you can see from preview people, we have 349 matches, right? We can expand our search a little bit if we want to. The other thing I would do, which I'll show you in just a sec, actually, we can create 2 types of people search. So an example of what this could look like is companies that are 11 to 50 or 51 to 200, normally 11 to 50. We would probably, the person in charge would most likely be like the founder, CEO, etc. But the company's 51, 500 to 1,000 and 200 to 500. The CEO and founder is not going to be in charge of hiring for that particular role, because they're going to have obviously structure and everything, and they're going to have more people there. So we could actually create a separate search that, based on the criteria, we only find 1150, and then we look for founders, CEOs, etc. Because we don't want to find founders and CEOs of 1,000 reach out to them and be a waste. We want to really find hiring talent acquisition, sales, basically anyone that's within those, right? So sales manager could be, there's potential sales manager, vice president, sales, talent acquisition partner. So yeah, so things like that. So these are the right kinds of job titles. I think maybe we might want to remove actually area sales manager. We don't want to be reaching out to area sales. So again, we can do a bit more of a manual thing here. Area sales manager, field sales manager. Let's remove this one as well. I don't think that. Head of talent, head of sales, head of corporate sales. So yes, all of these are like kind of good. That might be like business development as well, actually. Sometimes they mean different, or like growth as well. We'll try that. Could also even put like revenue officer and things like that. Just give that a second to load. So 309. Let's see. Sorry, I'm putting that in exclude. That's my mistake. Business development, and then growth, and then revenue as well. Put that in. Cool. So we've got some more matches you can see here, right? Size, talent. So these could be responsible for the jobs. We don't always want to just reach out to one person. We want to reach out to multiple, which is why we did that multiple researcher. So Toyota Fleet Sales Manager, we don't. It's probably not going to be right. Senior National General Sales Manager, they could be. You don't know. Some organizations have it where one person is in charge of it and they have a different job title. So you never know. So that's why I always prefer to do that, unless you find a specific decision maker that's on the LinkedIn job. But not every company has that, and that will only be for a small percentage. So I'm just going to preview people again, and then once this is correct, I will run it. So we've got exclude, and then these roles, and then so going to import here, and we're going to just go continue for free. So it's going to import those results. Cool, awesome. So now it's pulled us out back into the workflow table, and then we're going to go over to enrich people. So we're going to go over to edit, go into here, and then you can see these are all the columns that we have, but we've also got it mapped from the previous table for companies. So we want to pull in the job link, we want to pull in the company name, the open job title, and then we also want to put a job description. And that's about it, to be honest. That's all we really want to pull. Description. No, we don't need any of this stuff. Cool. So now we've got this list of people. What we're going to do is we're going to add enrichment, and just my favorite for finding emails, I use Prospero. You can also do waterfall, however you want to do it. Just in this case, I'm going to just show you how to use Prospero. I normally include catch-alls, and then I run, and then I'll use enrichly to verify any ones that have catch-all. So I'm just going to run for 10 rows just to show you. Just pause it for a second. And the reason why I do this, just to clarify, so I don't run any AI or do any of that kind of stuff just yet. I want to do it only if I found the verified emails. But we also use LinkedIn campaigns as well, right? And we actually use a separate tool for that, but we use LinkedIn campaigns as well. So if we're able to find their email, they go into the email campaign first, then LinkedIn afterwards. If we're not able to find their email, then I'll go into a LinkedIn only campaign, right? So we still want to make use of that data. You could also enrich them to find their mobile numbers for people that you haven't found their email. So again, you've got that data. You might as well try and find more of it and find their mobile numbers so you can call them. So then you can have a strategy of LinkedIn, email, cold calling as well, right? And you can do all of that again within Play. So once I've done this, I'm going to go over to add enrichment. I'm going to go enrichly. So I'd say email here. I'm going to go down to not finding it just yet. So this is just my own mini version of a waterfall. For some reason, it's not putting it. Just enrichly. We go here, email, and go email. Right, cool. And then we can also say, so only run if we can enter here. So you want it only to run if the email status is catch. Oh. And that means it's only going to run if the prospect email is catchable. And then we're just basically getting extra coverage. You can also use other providers like Finding Mail and all this kind of other stuff, and you can set up a waterfall. For this case, I'm not going to do that. Normally, I just find these, and if we're not able to find them, I'll just push them into a LinkedIn campaign. But you can use other providers and kind of go through it in more detail and find even more email addresses if you really want. Of course, that's shown up. So we've got some valid, some catch-all, most of them catch-all. And I'm just going to go run. And then we're going to go into run 10 rows. And then what we're going to do is going to pull a merge column, which will basically merge the emails. So we're going to put email from here, and then the email from here. But we're going to need to use AI because we only output email if status is valid. That's how we're going to run it. So it's only going to output the final prospect email if it is a valid email. If it's a catch-all, then it would go through to Enrichly. Enrichly would verify the catch-all. If it's able to verify the catch-all, then it will verify. Then it will output it as like valid as well, and then we merge the two valid columns into one, so we have the final valid emails. Output is correct, and then here we've got the same. So only output, and then put email. Only output email if contains true. Input that, and then put generate formula. For some reason, it's just outputting as nothing for some reason right now, but we're just going to run it, and you'll see in a second I can just make any corrections. Sometimes I can just output this, click the email column, but sometimes it just doesn't work, which is a little bit annoying, but and then I'm just going to rename this to final valid emails. Cool. And then I'm just going to go back here and then redo it. Yeah, I'm not sure why it just doesn't start sometimes. It's a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. But you just got to try a couple of times, and I just want to basically merge the two columns, like I said. So I'm just going to pause it whilst it runs, and I'll just get it correct. Cool. So now you can see it's working. If it's true, then it'll output, right? So sometimes you just need to play around with it, and then we can just hide these columns so they're not messy. We'll hide. So now you can see we've got the final emails. So if it hasn't run, it's because this is valid. So this run condition not met, but it's output the email here. This is run, but then this was not able to validate it, so it hasn't output it because it's not a valid email. We only want final valid emails here. Right? So we've got, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 50% basically. So to run this list, we've got 387, roughly about 50% are going to be right, give or take. So we're going to have about just under 200 basically. 180 or something, give or take. So I'd run that, but I'm going to do that afterwards because that'll take a while. So what I do next is I move on to AI. So this is now finally where you start to actually use AI. The only time you spent credits so far is with Enrichly. Right? I don't have an API for Enrichly, but I should probably get one. We have our own API for Postio. So the only credits I've used have been for this, right? So yeah, that's just give you an overview. Then next we do AI. So we're going to go into here and we're going to go over to ChatGPT. And we've already got the template that we have here. So we clean the open job role title. And I come over and find the open job title. And I use the template. And then obviously I just change the, to make sure the API key is right. I give it examples. And I put only run if final valid email is not empty. Cool. So that's when I've done it. So basically I'm telling it to only run if the final valid email is there. And then, so that's correct. So I'll put that. And then I will just run this on 10 rows. And the reason why we do this is because the open job title here that we've got, you can see it's a bit weird. So it's like some of them are clean already, but some of them are not. Client solutions dash. We don't want to put that in our email. We don't want to put like client. It just looks like we copy pasted it. We want to normalize it, make it look like decent, right? Lead qualified business sales. And then that would actually work in the email that we're writing. Sales operations analyst, head of residential sales, lead qualified business sales. Because we would actually put lead qualified business sales role, right? So it works within the sentence. So once we've done that, we've now got that. Then we're going to go to add enrichments and we're going to use Anthropic. So I've noticed that Anthropic is a lot better at doing this. So I'm going to generate text. And I'm going to pause it because I'm actually going to get the prompt from somewhere. So the model that I use Haiku, so Claude 3 Haiku, and then this is the prompt that we use. I'm just going to show you very briefly, but basically use the input from the job description, and then I essentially tell Claude to pull the information that we need, which is the experience requirements, essentially, right? And then I also set it, one important thing, I put the creativity at 1, and then I run the settings to make sure that it only runs if the valid email is not empty. So we only want to run if we've got a valid email, right? The messaging that we have on LinkedIn is a little bit different, so we don't actually end up using that. So you can see that we're building a list here of companies for extremely, extremely cheap. Output is correct, so good. And we're going to run this, and we're going to add a response, and save it in 10 rows. I always run it on 10 rows first, just to make sure it's right. If we need to make any corrections, we can make it on that. And then once we're good with that, then we run it for the entire list. And what's happening here is because we've set up this workflow, this is going to run every single week. So every time it pulls on Apify on Sunday, remember the start of the workflow, it pulls on Apify on Sunday, it's going to then push that into Clay, and then it's going to enrich, do all the steps that I've gone and run through with you. Once it's done that, it's going to push it to Smart Lead, and then it's going to send the emails, right? And it's going to do that. It's going to be sending the emails obviously every single day, but it's going to scrape new data every day, and it's going to go through all of these workflows. It's going to go step by step by step, find people step by step by step, and so on, right? So you can see the messaging here. You mentioned excellent communication skills, strong system skills, and understanding attention to detail, strong sales ability, excellent communication skills, and strong system skills. I think most of the same jobs. You mentioned proven track record of sales, strong leadership, and people management skills. So this is part of our messaging. So once we've got this, we'll go back to our overview, and then we need to draft the emails. So we're going to configure and draft the emails. Now, I'm actually going to show you quite literally what we use here. So this is a new functionality that recently discovered actually in Clay, which I thought was pretty cool. We can do first name. So we're just going to map the variables here. Minimize job title. Job title. Response. Cool. I'm going to save. I'm going to run this on 10 rows, but we can also preview it for other records. So you can see here, resident job description for lead qualified business sales you're hiring. That doesn't quite make sense. You're probably going to need that, put that in the role. Sales role you're hiring. Maybe you could put 4 as well to make it make sense. Sales operations analyst role you're hiring for. So we put something like that in. So you can start to see resident job description for head of residential sales role you're hiring for, right? You mentioned this candidate's going to send them over. That's essentially the message we're going after. And we'll go save and should just make the last here. So, and then we're going to save and run 10 rows. Cool. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to finally send it to Smart Lead. So we're going to configure, and we're going to enter the campaign name. I'm not actually going to do that for you right here because I don't want to show you the client details and everything, but we're just going to map the columns. And then once we've mapped the columns, then we would come in to enrich people, and you'll see it all within the table here. So you can see email subject, email body, and it will just need to actually run on initial so run it. And then we would add the Smart Lead section, essentially. So just go back to here, edit, save and run 10 rows. I think it should work in theory. Cool. We can go back, sales running, and then we can also, I'm just going to create a test campaign just to show you. Just going to put tests, subject column, and then you map the subject column. So yeah, email subject, email body, email body, and then email. So this is the actual email column. So final valid email. Okay, cool. And then it will create that, and then you've just got to further map it within the table. So just give it 2 seconds and it'll run. Now we come back to the table. And we've got here, you can see the subject. Obviously, it's only going to run if, okay, cool. So it's only going to run, obviously the ones that say roll, they haven't run, which is why it just says roll. And we're not going to run it unless we're going to set a conditional on Smart Lead that only runs if the response is empty. It will do it anyway because it hasn't found the valid email, so it won't be pushed into Smart Lead anyways, but we won't do it just in case. So you get the idea, and then first name, we just map the columns. First name, fill all this kind of stuff out, whatever. You can obviously set up your multiple step sequences in Smart Lead, but that's for another video. And then you would just quite literally go on, save and run, but I'm just going to save and don't run. And then that's pretty much it. So you get an idea. This is what the email would actually look like. This is the first email. And yeah, that's pretty much how you would do it. Now, like I said, just to kind of go through, this is what we've actually built. So it's not configured. You just obviously have to play around with it and make sure it's finalized, but that's how we'll do it. So you're getting the data in from Amplify, which is being pulled and scraped every single week from LinkedIn in this case, right? We can also connect this to Indeed and other things. You probably have to create a separate workflow if you wanted to do Indeed, just because Indeed has a different format and structure of the data, so it wouldn't be able to be structured in the same format to be able to run through the same workflow. Next, you want to go on to enrich companies. And this is where you filter out the recruitment companies. You could also do this at this stage. And I wanted to just show you actually something real quick here, which we can do with get people. So we can add a simultaneous action. Right. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to put founder, CEO, owner, managing director. Right. And then we're going to just remove all that. And we're only going to put this as company attributes. And then we can actually change this so that we've only got 51 to 200, for example. And then we'll put location, results, and then people. So hopefully it should come up with basically founders, managing directors, and owners of these companies. Right, so it's a really small list. So yeah, regional director, interesting. It's because the list is actually quite small in terms of the number of companies that are hiring at 51 to 200 and then to 50. It's probably quite small, which is why the list is tiny, essentially. But you could then import this and run the same sort of build the same workflow within here. So just have a check and see. I'm just going to refresh this. All right, awesome. So just to kind of finalize everything here, I'm not sure why this is saying 0 people, but it should. There we go. That's why. Right. Okay. Cool. So you've got here the 387. You'd have to actually configure it slightly differently. So I'm probably going to run through that in a separate video because that would take a little bit too long here in this video. I'm pretty wary and conscious that it's like over 30 minutes. But this is pretty much the workflow. So you're taking these people from Amplify, enriching them, finding the people information here. I thought it would actually be able to split them into 2 searches, but I'm going to have to configure that a little bit more. But anyways, you get the initial point of you finding the hiring manager and so on. And then you're enriching the people and putting them through this table. You're drafting the email, and then you're also sending that to SmartLead as well, right? So that's that entire workflow, and that's happening all automatically. So every day, it will find new people. Sorry, I've set it to every week. It will add new data, scrape new data from Amplify from that initial job search. Now you could set up multiple job searches, so you could do sales, UK, past week, etc. And then you could also do business development as another keyword. And then you've got two points of data, 2 triggers of data coming into the same workflow, and then that's going to go through most of those companies. And it will add those companies every single week as long as the Amplify trigger is working. And that scrapes all those new job roles over the past week that fit your criteria, fit your keywords. That will pull that information and go into this workflow, enrich the companies, find the people, enrich those people, create that messaging, push it into SmartLead, all automatically, so that you can focus on the most important thing that you're doing, which is making calls. You're actually talking to the prospect, and all of the business development and prospecting, everything like that is automated, right? So if this is something that you're interested in doing and you don't know how to do this yourself, or you just don't want to, you don't want to spend the time in like learning all of this stuff, then feel free to book in a call below. Yeah, if you need any help or any advice or whatsoever on Clay, feel free to comment below on any of the videos that you want to see more of. Again, feel free to schedule a call. There's also a cold email guide as well in the comments, not in the comments, sorry, in the description, which you can buy and check out on Gumroad. And we'll be releasing a newsletter very soon as well to help with you guys learning around Clay and just sort of like automating your outbound so that you can spend more of your time actually talking to prospects and not having to worry and configure all of this stuff. So that all your prospecting, all of that manual tedious work and research and everything is done within Clay, either by us or we help you do that so that you can spend your time doing all the stuff that's actually high leverage, and that you enjoy the most, which is talking to your prospects, booking in sales calls, doing the sales calls and closing deals essentially. So yeah, I hope that was useful. It's a bit in depth, but I just wanted to give you like a very thorough step-by-step. This is how it's done. This is how we do it. We're obviously always ever evolving. So We'll always be making changes to this kind of stuff, and this is our process at the moment. But we're always making changes and optimizing things. So hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.